Hope Channel, changing lives.
Evening and welcome to the Law Chambers, where legal matters are discussed from a Christian perspective. Anita Delight is my name, and this is season 4. All right, so question and answers. We use the first two episodes to do our question and answers, right? So now we're going to start this topic proper, and this topic is about the employer-employee relationship. So the whole season, that's what we're going to discuss. This all-important relationship. In season 1, we began with prayers. Season 2, we began with a song. Season 3, we began with a poem. So season 4, let's go back to prayers, shall we? So please bow your heads and let's just pray. Menso mene why. Minya me dien krani mi fia awe rade nyankopon oye ambedu hey yana wasia enyo amen ninara mume yinyi radia ye efise oni yene di no ye. Father, Lord, we thank you for our lives. We thank you for how far you brought us. How things are going. It's not everyone who can say this is going right or this is going wrong. We all seem to have our own opinions about the hardships we are going through. But as Christians, as your children, we are bold enough to say we are still in the Lord, and this is the doing of the Lord, and it is marvelous in our sight. The season has begun. Be with us through the season. If there's anyone out there with any kind of hardship, with any kind of legal issue, we pray that we'll be able to help the person answer that prayer, that request. In your name, Lord, have we prayed with thanksgiving. Amen.
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 So let's go and watch the short video. We'll be right back.
Are you guys stupid? I'm the boss, and you all must do what I say.
You're right, sir. You are the boss.
What, newbie?
I said you're right, sir. You are the boss.
Mm-hmm.
You say it without hesitation.
That's right.
That's why today I'd like to give you something.
What is it, newbie?
My letter of resignation.
Oh, really, newbie? You don't want to work here? Big mistake.
Well, as a new employee, your leadership skills make me concerned. And if you don't mind, before I leave, I'd like to give you some parting words.
What can you teach me? I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead, new guy.
Well, sir, I don't think you're all bad. But somewhere down your path, you got lost. I think you used to be a leader, but now you're just a boss.
What's the difference?
Well, see, a boss says I. A leader says we. Bosses are blinded by pride, while leaders can really see. A leader always asks. Bosses, they command. See, a boss points fingers, but a leader extends a hand. A boss says go. Leaders say let's go. Leaders consider ideas. Bosses say heck no. See, a boss push you down. Leaders will lift you up. Because leaders give love. A boss don't give a...
What?
Bosses use people, abuse people. Leaders groom people. They look for what's good inside and improve people. Leaders have mastered the art of inspiration. Bosses have mastered the art of manipulation. A boss yells and screams like they're on a TV show. A leader treats the janitor like the CEO. They are compassionate and know the community comes first. Bosses think culture's something only found in yogurt. Sir, ask yourself this question. I'm not trying to be your teacher, but have you ever heard of a world boss?
I haven't.
Or is it world leader, religious leader, community leader, business leader? Don't you see it? A leader is who you should be. A boss is just meager. Sir, entrepreneurs have a big responsibility. I believe we are the only ones who can save our world. Literally. Not politicians, not government. We won't do it religiously. We do it through serving our clients' best needs individually.
Our clients.
But maybe you think good service won't take you far. Maybe you think if you started to serve, our stock will fall.
Our stock?
Well, the great Henry Ford will be appalled, because he said a business devoted to service will have one worry about profits.
Yeah, what's that?
They will be embarrassingly large. Sir, this is a higher call. Does that make sense? We are here to work for a dream, not just a paycheck. We are here to be fantastic and sensational, not just transactional, but transformational. Profit comes when we are committed to the vision, and we will have the biggest ROI. Return on intention. Sir, I sincerely hope you change your ways and overcome your obstacles. You teach a lot about leadership here. Mostly, what not to do.
Wait. How do you know so much about business? And you said our stock? Who is this guy?
Well, the truth is, I lied. I'm not your employee, sir.
Who are you?
You're mine. I'm the founder of this company, and you need to learn a thing or two about our core meaning. Tomorrow morning, first thing, I'd like to see you at our board meeting.
Welcome back. So the question is, are you a boss? Or do you have a boss like that? Do you intend to be a boss? Is that what you intend to do? This season, we'll learn so much about this special relationship between the employer and the employee. And if you are even not employed yet, the question is, what should you look out for? So this episode, our topic is employment matters, pre-contract and engagement stage. So we are going back. You have not been employed yet. What are some of the things that will happen or should happen before you are employed? Right? So that's what we're going to discuss today. And you can see that I'm in my all-African print. We are in March. African way, right? So this season, we are going to do all-African print. And I'm so honored to say that I have sponsorship. Yay! So this nice dress that I'm wearing, this nice outfit, is by Mamel's Creation. Her number is 0541 80 93 93. She's Rose. Mamel's Creation, she's Rose. She sews impeccable. So if you need your clothes sewed, she's the best fashion designer you can ever find. And then the material is from Endless Fashion Mall. She's so popular on Facebook and social media. She's located in Kumasi, but irrespective of where you find yourself, she can always send it to you in the north, in Takra Day, in Accra. She has a way. She will always send it to you. And so you can call Samuela on 0243 018508. 0243 018583. So please, so that I get more sponsors, go and buy your clothes from LS Fashion Mall and make sure that Rose sews your dress for you. Okay. And then we have the accessories by The Light. You can call Sophie on 0243 715 480. If you want to sponsor us, come on board and sponsor us, because we need a lot of sponsorship to really hold on with this program. So now let's move on to today's topic. So you are looking at all the issues that happens before you are employed, right? If you want to be employed, where do you look at? Who do you go to? How do you go about it? Who do you look out for? If people are trying to find a way to make you pay monies, is that legal? Is that illegal? How do you go about it? We are going to do all that today. So now let me introduce my guests. So I have Madame Dora Siaulate, Mrs. She's a human resource practitioner with over 20 years of continuous experience. She's a chartered human resource management practitioner, chartered with Institute of Human Resource Management, Ghana. She's a member of the Professional Certification Board of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, Ghana. She's an ADR practitioner and a certified arbitrator, mediator of the National Labour Commission. She is Class A. She's a certified and practicing commissioner of oaths. She's the former country human resource manager for Plan International Ghana. She is the president of the Accra chapter of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management.
Former president.
I can go on and on and on and on. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is this. Auntie Dora is the doorstep to human resource if you want to talk about human resource matters. Auntie Dora,
Yes, dear.
you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
When I was introduced to you, I looked at you and I'm like, hey, Auntie Dora, how do we get there?
You're already there.
No, I can't cry.
You're already there.
All right. So then I have a very handsome gentleman with me. He is lawyer Gideon Tete. He's a lawyer. He's an associate at Addison Bright Lyon, an Accra-based law firm. He's a law lecturer at the Faculty of Law of Wisconsin International University College. Gideon is a board secretary at Surge Insurance Brokers, and he's the director at Stranek Africa, a civil society organization which focuses on climate change, policy research, reform, security, and anti-corruption. Gideon, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm good. You look good.
Yes, I will definitely hire your seamstress too.
Thank you.
If you sew some for me.
Oh, she'll sew it for you. She'll sew it for you.
Yes, yes.
So, Gideon, what course you teach?
Well, I teach land law.
Land law.
Yes, but I actually did my LLM in ADR.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Basically, even in practice, I always encourage parties to resort to ADR. Unless the parties believe that they don't feel like resolving the matters, amicably. But of course, because we all know that it is a voluntary submission. And so, but for in school, land law, my students, I teach them matters regarding the land. But even that, I encourage them to resort to ADR, because sometimes some matters are very petty and they can be resolved once there's a voluntary submission. So basically that's it.
Wow. Are you married?
No, I'm single, but
he's very single.
I'll come to Auntie for more tutorials.
Well, he's single.
For more tutorials.
So let's zoom in then. When we talk about an employer, who is an employer and who is an employee, and what's the difference between the two?
All right. So let me take that one, and I'd like to go to the Labour Act,
okay,
and tell us what the Labour Act says about who an employer is. So the Labour Act says an employer is any person who employs a worker under a contract of employment.
Okay.
An employer is anybody who employs a worker under a contract of employment. That is an employer. And then a worker. So a worker means a person employed under a contract of employment, whether on a continuous basis, part-time, temporary, or casual. So these are the definitions in the Labour Act.
Okay, so let's come down.
Let's come down.
Yes.
Right. So who is an employer? An employer is somebody who engages the services of another person to work for them.
Okay.
And then the type of, and some of the contracts must be written. Some may not be written. So if it is a permanent contract, we may come to all the, it must be written. If it's a temporary one more than 6 months, it must be written. If it is a casual, meaning like, come and do this thing for me, 3 days and go away, it may not be written. So that is a worker. You understand? So that is a worker, the person who provides services for another person who is an employer.
Okay.
So that is what it is.
Okay.
That's what I can say for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with this, when we mentioned the employee, the worker, you said someone on permanent basis, someone 6 months or more,
temporary basis,
and then someone
casuals
in some few days.
Come and do this for me, go. Come and offload this for me 2-3 days and go.
So those ones you don't really need any kind of
formal written
contract.
But
if I'm working for someone for about 6 months, 1 year, that person has to give me.
So the minimum that the Labour Act provides is minimum 6 months.
Okay.
After 6 months, there must be a written contract of employment.
I think we'll come there. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but let me jump. I like jumping.
Don't jump.
Let me jump. So you see, there are some people who employ people for 6 months, lay them off before it gets to the 6 month, lays them off, employ, lays them off, employ. So there will never be that continuous 6 months. Then what happens?
Well,
that person worker.
So
permanent?
you see, basically, what Auntie, you see, you know, she defined what an employer is, and she indicated some of the key words that, if the viewers are watching, were contract of employment. There's also contract for employment. But so far as Act 651, which is the Labour Act, is concerned, defining who an employer is. Defining who an employer is. The key word is contract of employment, which means that you are hired into the company of the employer and he pays you. Contract for employment, you, like the seamstress. The seamstress is not employed.
Mamel's creation.
Mamel's creation. You are only asking for her services, right, to sew your things for you. So you are not an employer. She's not your worker, right? It's what she did for you is contract for employment. Yeah. She's just delivering you some services, right, and you are done. So that is contract for employment. Right. That one is not employer. That one doesn't fall under the definition of who an employer is per the Labour Act. You get the point. So that is something that viewers must understand. Yeah. Looking at what Auntie has said, if your contract is not contract of employment, then it is not. That means that person is not your employer.
That's right.
You get the point.
So but for service, you are coming.
For service, he's not. Yeah. So for service, that one. That's
for the service.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's English.
He only comes for the service.
Yeah.
Seamstress. I come, I deliver, you pay me, I go. But once contract, the very moment, what's the name of the company again?
Mamel's.
Once you tell Mamel's that Mamel's, come and work in my company or in my enterprise, and then I'll pay you maybe this amount of money, maybe monthly or maybe on a temporary manner or what have you, then you know that we are talking about contract of employment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe to add to that, with the of employment, there are so many rules governing it. You are coming, I'll give you a workstation in my office. I'll tell you when to come to work. I'll tell you the do's and don'ts of the work. You are on my payroll. I even tell you what dress to wear to come to the office and all that. So that is contract of employment. At the end of the month, I pay you, I take the statutory deductions, and then I pay you. But just let me add quickly, with the contract for employment, GRA would say, before we pay Mamel's creation, we have to take withholding tax from it. So contract for is like just normal contracts. Work for me, I deduct the tax, and then I pay you, go. Of employment, you are my employee, you are my payroll, all the rules governing the organization, you have to obey. So contract of employment. Yeah.
And to add this issue about temporary and casual workers, a lot of casual workers are not aware that they are casual workers. And so they tend to be paid like temporary workers.
So now give us a
So
situation.
you see a gardener, a sweeper. He's just sweeping maybe the compound of this place. But the company says, okay, even though you are a gardener and sweeper, which I am claiming that I'm paying you, I have to pay you daily. He tends to employ you hire services for like 6 months, right? Meanwhile, so far as he's concerned, he's supposed to pay you a daily wage.
Yeah.
Casual worker, you are supposed to pay the worker daily. You don't calculate the money and say that I'll give it to you in a month. If the casual worker, that if the gardener or sweeper comes and maybe because you don't have the necessary accoutrement, the necessary tools for him to work, and he goes, it doesn't mean you must pay him. He comes to work all right. Maybe there's flood, or today it's rained, so maybe he can't sweep, right? The fact that he can't sweep, or you will not be able to sweep because the place is wet or there's flood, does not mean that you must not pay him. You must pay him that day.
We are really,
and that is
really
in the Labour Act. That is in the 64. I'm not saying that it's in the Labour Act.
That's not what happened.
So you see that. Well, that's the point. Once you are not aware of the laws governing your work, it is understandable.
Yeah.
So you see many gardeners, sweepers, and what have you, even though they are under the category of casual workers, they are still being treated. The ways in which they are being treated is like temporary workers. And even temporary workers, you will notice that some people that they claim they're temporaries are actually supposed to be, permanent workers, because they are there for more than 6 months.
But that's where the issue comes in. That okay, you don't worry, I'll come there now. We are jumping. Let's go back. Let's go back. So before I'm employed, that there's an advertisement. I'm about to apply. What should I look out for? When I do apply, what should I also look out for?
So immediately you see the advertisements, you have to go to where you have to read where the employer has stated the competency requirements, like the educational qualification, like the person specification, who are they looking for, the job specification, the summary of the duties. You have to study them and match them with your competencies. If we talk about competency, we are looking at the educational background. We are looking at your skills. There are 3 types of competencies. We have technical competencies related to a particular job. Then we have managerial competencies. So I'm talking about maybe for middle management, and then there is personality competencies. So when you look at these ones, you have to write your CV to respond to those competency requirements in the adverts. So you don't just write anything and give to the employer. You may not be shortlisted. So if I am a prospective employee, I'm looking for a job, I see an advert, I want to apply for that job, I have to look at what, like I said, look at the competency requirements in the job adverts, and then try and draft or craft your CV to respond to that one. That is, and you have to be as honest as possible. That is, if you have those requirements, those qualification and the competencies. These days, you see some people, they just go online, copy CVs, and then throw it at us. I mean, nobody is going to shortlist you for selection. No. I said selection, not interview, because there are so many types of selection. So nobody would call you to come to even prove to justify your inclusion, for want of a better word. Yeah. So those are some of the things that a prospective employee or worker should look out for.
Okay.
So the thing is that CVs, I know everyone has a standard CV, but most people make the error of sending that standard CV to everywhere that they say, oh, we are looking for a job. Yeah. So the employer is looking out for something that will connect to what he's asking for. And perhaps that one that he's looking out for, you have done a scanty description of that one. because your CV is just a standard one, right? So, I'll use myself. You want to lecture? Yes, I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm entering into academia. I have to state the courses I have done, right, in my CV, so that the school will see that these are the courses you have done, and that looking at these courses, they can tell that, okay, then when we give you this course, you can do it. But when you just get up and just write, you just give a standard, the employer may not have the time to call you and be asking you more questions about your CV. Your CV should make little room for questions. Sure. I always say that when someone takes your CV or any document at all, ask yourself questions and write it there in the document, so that whatever questions the person wants to ask you, it's already in there. It makes it easy. So that maybe if the person wants to ask you another question, maybe a question that, it is maybe an elaboration. He's asking you to elaborate what is in your CV. But if someone takes your CV and he still has to call you to ask you many questions, he doesn't have the time to call you. No. He will take someone's CV, and if he sees what he's looking for, you put yours aside. There's no time. And so, yes, people say I have submitted my CV to many places. Yet when you check, it's just a standard CV. It cuts across, so he's just photocopying maybe 20 and he's just submitting it. You see, you will hardly be called, unless maybe the employer has the time and maybe it is not competitive. Then that's when they will call you, and then they will ask you questions on maybe the scanty part that is even more important for them, that you have not even elaborated.
But not today in Ghana.
Exactly. Yes. Now, so now looking at the job, absolutely. So you have to be just specific. Yes, of course. Sometimes people want to write CV for you to see that on my being, like, I mean, they've been through, they are well educated and all that. Yeah, that's fine. But once you see a job description, you have to tailor your CV to that, please. And of course, these days we don't write CVs as bulky as a book. No. Nobody has your time. No one. Once he takes the thing, he just has to see it this way, and then he can see whatever he wants, and then he puts it and it's gone. Yeah. You see, those days,
and even the arrangements of the CV. Yeah.
Exactly. Those days, I mean, bulky CV. You write even your responsibilities, duties, the things you have done, the things you have achieved. Nobody's going to read that these days. Now, nobody does that. Yeah. You have to be as concise and precise as possible. Straight to the point. Yeah. Because the CVs are many, he takes it just a glance. At a glance. Yeah. He must see what he's looking out for. So, these are petty things that, as employers, those who are looking for the prospect, those workers or those who want jobs should get to know. Unfortunately, employers will hardly tell you, and some of them too will not say. It's subconscious. They are not aware that now they don't need bulky CVs, or once they take it, they are just looking out for something. Once they see it, that's it. But if you want him to flip, he may not have the time. Yeah. So basically, it's one of the things that
I really hope you are taking notes, because it's really, really important. So now let's go to the companies that help people get the jobs.
Employment agencies.
Yes. So the job agencies, they will tell you, they'll help you get the job. Bring your CV, I'll do everything. They help you get the job, and then you realize that there was a contract, or they will then tell you that you're supposed to give them 30% of your salary.
See.
How legal is this? And if someone really wants to go around this, how is the person supposed to go around it?
Well, before you go to the employment agency, or when you get to the employment agency, you are made to sign a document. So you cannot say that you're oblivious of what you signed. You are asking them to look out for a job for you. Some employment agencies will even take a fee, some small fee.
You have to register.
The registration fee. So when you register, you sign. And when you sign the contract, you give your details. that they will use to get you a job, right? Before I became a lawyer, I mean, many years ago, after first degree, we went to some employment, and that's where I got to understand that, yes, obviously you signed something. And 2 years later that I went, I'd even forgotten that I've gone to some employment agency. 2 years later, they called me and said, oh, there's a job, here, and they want me to go there. But I mean, at that time, I was in the law school. But that is the extent to which the employment agencies can go out for. Once you pay, you sign the contract, no matter the number of years that it will take, they still have your records there. It is part of, and some employers also don't want to directly deal with, workers. They want the agencies, yes, outsourcing. That's the word. So they want to outsource, so that once they outsource, there are some terms and conditions or some things that they will not fulfill.
Burdens as well.
Exactly.
That they want to lift off. I mean, from themselves.
Many years ago, some financial institutions were not employing directly. They get the outsources from these employment agencies, and they pay the employment agencies to pay the workers. That's what they were doing, and because that one to them was cheaper, they will still get the same services, but it is an outsource. So in that sense, you are not really an employee of the bank, of the financial institution. You are an employee of the employment agency, and the employment agency is providing those people. And that's many years ago.
And
that's
those agencies will pay all the statutory.
Exactly.
Money.
Oh yeah, they'll do all those things. Those days, I don't know whether it's still there. Maybe until
no, it is. They will still. Yeah.
So, and the point that it is a choice. I mean, it's an employer has the right to appoint or disappoint, right? How the employer wants to function as a company, he puts the terms there, and once you agree to it, that's it. So it's not really true, or it shouldn't be this employment agency should not be seen in a bad light, as if maybe I get you a job and then you are now telling. No, it is never after you get the job. It is always before you get the job that you are definitely, maybe it's because maybe you have not read the contract, but you are told whatever, once you pay a fee, there's a contract that you sign with all your details that you even indicate. So remember that they are going to do everything possible to get you a job. And once they get you, and the possibility that they will get you get a job is high, because maybe that company has trust in that employment agency. So when you are coming from that employment agency, right, they are likely to take you because they believe that that employment agency will see the best.
Okay, so
you get the point.
So we are saying that because you sign and it's documented and it's legal. So now let me go. Let me take the other boat. Is it conscionable? Because you see, we are looking at people who are desperate for work, and if you tell them to sign off their mothers, they might as well do it. And then out of the salary, some people want 30%, 40%, actually 70% of the person's salary. Is it questionable?
So, like, what I can say is that maybe the regulator, is it the Ministry of Employment and Social Welfare? The employment, maybe not, I don't know. So they have to regulate well and determine the percentages that an employment agency may take from a prospective employer or worker's salary. It's a matter of regulation, you understand? So I cannot sit here and say it is, I mean, what's the word that you use?
One cannot call it unconscionable, because remember that you have come to me that you want a job. I didn't come to you. You came to me.
Sure. And you didn't pay the registration fee.
Because you believe that I have a network of employees.
We are talking about a situation where people are desperate for work. People are
so
desperate for
the regulation
and so you take advantage of someone's desperation
I don't agree to the word.
That's why, apart from legality, you have morality.
I think
I don't agree to the word desperation.
To some extent, you know, some people are desperate for job, so they won't even read that. You know, the Ghanaian attitude, they will not even read a contract to know that maybe after they give me the.
Even when they read and they realize that the person needs a job, Charlie, man
Yeah, I
has
get
to
your
put
point,
no
but you see,
complaints.
no, you see,
I
when
think it's about
Because-
3 months or something. 3
some,
months,
some 3
sometimes
months, but
3
some
months.
perpetual.
No,
That's-
no, I
that's-
don't think so.
That's actually one now pending.
Perpetual.
Perpetual, and the person is paying
No.
35%.
No,
And when the person takes away the transport fare,
No.
feeding, the money outstanding will not even be able to pay the
So
agency.
please
so she
check-
came to me and she was like, "What should she do?" And I'm like,
Counsel,
"Did you read the
counsel,
contract?"
Please check with the
Yes.
lady and see the. I mean, which employment agency is that?
I can't mention it, but
You
the
see-
one
No,
we
I'm
give
not
here, I
asking
will,
you.
I
You
will
see-
give
you
you
see,
details.
I think
for
that-
Yeah,
it's
because,
needed.
I think that it's a matter of
No.
the regulatory bodies
Yeah.
actually working.
Doing
But you
the
see, they're using the word, well, I was desperate and I signed. You see, unfortunately, if you want to even take an action, you cannot use that as an excuse.
That's why we are looking at
You see, so
morality.
Yeah, yes,
Not just the
yes,
legal,
but you
but
know,
ethics.
you see,
Yeah.
well, fine. I mean, morality that is okay.
but you cannot
But in the
say-
event you, okay, yes, in the event you sign and you are in it, and now you realize that you don't want it anymore, right? You can't use the excuse of desperation. It is either you end that contract, which will mean that is that job, you have to let it go.
That is it.
It's unfortunate, you see. But I would just encourage viewers, don't be desperate to sign contracts in the name that maybe when you sign, you get a job, you run away. It will not happen because you see, the employer will also has a relationship with the employment agency.
Yeah.
And so don't think that in as much about this perpetual issue, if we want to check right now, that money is taken before her real salary goes into her account. It is never that she would take the 35% from her account and pay. It doesn't work that way.
Sometimes they come to the. I've seen some before myself. The agency would come to the office and then take the money, cash from the person. I've seen some before. Yeah.
Wow.
And let also another point is that these days, because of some attitude of workers, employers are comfortable using employment agencies so that if there's an issue, they can trace maybe where the employer lives and all those kind of things, right? Yes, employee and all that. And these days too, some employers don't have time to be sieving and be doing interview and all that. So you see that the employment agency may even do the interview and say that, oh, this one is good for you, for this your company.
Yeah.
And they take it.
No,
they all this stuff.
what is it? They hire for the employer.
Exactly so.
They do everything.
Exactly so.
From recruitment,
All the
through
way.
selection, and place. Then they bring them to you.
Exactly so.
Yeah.
So all this is so you see, it is a business
Yeah.
that someone is doing, right?
It's an outsourcing.
There are employers,
careful.
there are employers who will never do an advert. They will just call maybe employing agency and say, oh, I need these people, help me. Because some people believe that once they do an advert, the number of people that will come, they may not be able to contain.
Yeah.
Many of the financial institutions, you will never hear them employing.
So those
But
are
every year,
blind
they are-
adverts, you call them. Yeah. They
Exactly
would
so.
advertise blindly.
Yes, yes,
no
yes.
name and all that.
Explain that further.
The blind adverts.
Yes.
Oh, it's just simple. My company wants to hire a financial officer. I do the adverts, but I don't use my name. I don't put my name there. Because I don't want any wahala for so many, about 1,000 adverts and all
then
that.
again, if you tell me Cocoa Board is recruiting, that's what people come.
No.
Yes,
That is where no, you see.
and you get the best.
Oh no.
People
Because if
buy.
it's just
You-
general
you-
and they don't know the
yeah.
company.
No,
The-
but
the-
the blind advert is
the situation-
is really working. You see, you will be on WhatsApp page, and you just see, oh, someone is looking for a reputable company, looking for this, and they call this
Reputable
person.
company.
I recall that a relative applied, this normal WhatsApp page, only to realize that it was a big bank, and that relative is in that bank.
Wow.
I'm telling you,
That's great.
it was just like some 4 or 5 lines.
Oh, wow.
So you thought that, oh, maybe it's just some, some company somewhere.
So just
After
apply, just
everything
apply.
was said and done, filled and all that, was one of the biggest banks.
Wow.
Was one of the biggest, and he,
Unless you have to
and
reach out, so
So just
to be
You are looking
honest,
for the
no,
big
to be honest, That was my first time because I will usually not even apply when I see that.
Those
I
kind
won't
of
waste my time.
I always skip.
I always waste my time.
Yeah.
So
it's information for our viewers.
Yes.
If you are in search of a job, anything that you see, just
Exactly.
apply. Just go for it.
You know,
Yeah.
so when he indicated that, oh, this is how he got it. WhatsApp page. We are all chatting, and somebody just puts it there.
Sure.
And he says, oh, let me just try.
Try it and then we got it.
And that was it. Meanwhile, that institution will never put it in the data. Nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
It
so-
was at the end that they realized that, okay, oh, after everything was done,
Sure.
then they
This
said,
is
oh,
the
this is
company.
your door.
That's right. Enter.
Okay, Auntie Dora, let's do this so I go for a short commercial break.
Okay.
So before the person is employed proper, take us through the process
The process.
to selection.
All right. So I'm doing recruitment. So I have gotten this is internal. Myself, HR, and the hiring manager. He's a technical person, so we've come together to develop the job description. So the person specialized, I said, who are we looking for, the qualification and all that is inside. So then after that, HR would draft the adverts and then post it on the organization's website, in the national dailies, do headhunting, tell people, oh, I'm looking for a finance manager. That's a headhunting. Anybody you meet and you think that, and also it also reduces your, employment cost, all right? And then you can also go through the employment agencies like we're talking about. And then employee referral, even the current employees, you can tell them that, oh, we are looking for this person. So that is the recruitment. Where am I going to get the type of person that I'm looking for? So you recruit, you advertise, you do headhunting and all that. And then, of course, there would be some website address or email or something for the people, the prospective employees to apply to. So they apply, and then there's a deadline, of course. And then you do after the deadline, you do shortlisting. After the shortlisting, then you are going to call those who met your specifications for a selection process. So this is pre-selection.
Okay.
Right. So I should go into selection. Right. So selection also, we have so many forms. One is a normal interview that we all know. When the military people and the security services are doing selection, you go for medical exam. And even that one, when you go to the LI 1833, it's mandatory that every employer must necessarily ensure that the prospective worker undergoes medical examination. It is mandatory.
Okay.
So that's one. So it's part of after selection, you must necessarily go through a medical exam. And then myself, the employer, I can also do police checks. This is before, so I'm entering a selection. Right. So selection, we set a date for interview. We send an email to you. There maybe 4 or 5 people come for interview. We give you the venue, the dates, the time, and everything. So you come. We go through the process, and then whatever process, like I was going. It could be PowerPoint presentation. It could be one-on-one. It could be written test. It could be anything, and then we test you based on what the criteria that we want to use, depending on the position, right? So we've gotten the person.
Yes.
Now we've selected one. So once we select the person, we are going to write to the person that we have selected you and make an offer to the person.
So the offer doesn't mean the person is an employee
No,
yet.
not yet.
Okay.
I am making an offer to you. So I'll give you the important and the necessary information that I have to give you. Your position, maybe who you report to, your salary, the benefits and all that. I mean, the important information about the position, I must let you know. Then I give you a duration, maybe 3 days, 4 days, 1 week. Please, if you accept these terms and conditions, write back to me to tell me that you accept them. Okay, now I write, Ghana, there's no work, so I accept. So you have accepted, you've written back to tell me that you accept. Then I am going to, if the organization has a medical facility, I'm going to give you a letter to take to that facility to undergo the medical exam. And then in the same way, I'll write to the police. I worked with, my last job was an NGO. We would always write to the police for a report on you. and then maybe your previous employer, maybe your supervisor, will write to the person to complete a form for us.
Hey.
So those are the background checks that
So
we do.
if you lost your other workplace in a not so good terms,
then it's your wahala, you know.
But do you as an employer look at the possibility that this negative recommendation might not really be it, but there might be more, or you just take it at face value?
Well, you have to trust. I mean, the person was working with maybe a company, an established company. I mean, so why would I think that?
Maybe I was sexually assaulted, and so I left the institution. But you not ask me
if you were sexually assaulted, and well,
that
is a requirement that you. I mean, that is one of my requirements. The current employer's requirement that I must do a background check with your supervisor. So
if you are leaving your old employer, please be careful.
So if it happens that maybe there was something like sexual harassment or something, then you left and all that, so the employees there may not want to feel something for you. I mean, you can
negative.
I think that I think that yes, you ought to have a good relationship with your previous work, but the new employer is not bound to listen to what the reasons that you have left. Good employers are able to sieve or decipher whether what the supervisor is saying is true or not. And so, well, I have people who, because they believe that their employers will give them issues, they didn't even write where they were coming from. I mean, but they deleted.
No, what I'm saying is that maybe
that's a good policy.
It's a policy.
So the thing is that
it's a policy that before I employ you, I must get a recommendation from
your previous.
From your previous.
Yes, I mean, so the point is that clearly.
So my employers, I'll skip and go to the first.
It is part of due diligence as an employer.
Yeah.
I know a company where for the security, I mean those security men, once you say you left their job, they are able to tell that you didn't leave their job, you were sacked. Because it is very rare for these security men to just leave one security agency to another. You know, those security men who are well uniformed, yes.
Sure.
So once you come out and say, oh, well, I left the job, they're able to tell that no, you were sacked.
Sure.
They will not ask you, but they out of experience, they can tell that any security man who says that he has left that job is likely that he was sacked. Because they talk among themselves. They know how much everybody, I mean, it's a standard payment, so they can tell. So yes, employer, your new employer is not bound to listen to your past, but it does also mean that you must leave on a very bad note with your former employer. But in the event that you are leaving and your old employer is not happy about it, your new employer, even if he does whatever his due diligence and it is not a good letter, he may decipher. Mind you, you have been interviewed. Mind you, you've been interviewed and all that, and you have a list of companies you have worked with, perhaps. So they may be able to even check the other one.
Immediate preview.
Yes, you can check. Just to be double sure. Just to be double sure that well, what this person is saying is good. So
that's good.
But I'll just encourage workers to, no matter how much the employer. You may have issues with the employer. Just leave on a very good note.
That's right.
I mean, not that you have to build a good relationship, but you can leave out of respect.
Sure.
Yeah.
And whether the employer likes it or not, you will never have issues, because I mean, obviously, it will be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So you don't like your employer so much. That doesn't mean you have to always be at loggerheads with the person.
That's it.
Just lay low, find something else, and just say, "Adieu, sir." And leave. So Auntie Dora, right now we've passed the stage where we've done the clinicals, they've done all the search and everything. So if the clinicals come and I'm not fit for the job, or the recommendation comes and it's not favorable, already a contract has been, because there's an offer, there's an acceptance, there's already an offer. Can this negate that?
No. They may not have been a contract of employment yet.
Okay.
Because normally I would wait to receive those ones before.
Okay.
So I know where to put the date of assumption.
Okay.
Giving myself about 2-3 weeks for all those preparatory works. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So that is
all
it,
right.
yeah.
All right. So Gideon.
And what you need to understand, per the labor laws, once you are not fit for the work, the employer, even if you have accepted it, the employer has a right to sack you.
That's right.
Or give you a work that commemorates with what.
Or give you, but
yes,
it is not bound. Yes.
No, I don't want the employer to know this one. Look at the other one.
No, well, but the labor laws are there clear. Yeah, but that's fine. But I mean,
if you're not fit for the work,
the point is
they
that
can
if
give
you're
you
not fit,
another work.
they can. But I'm trying to say that you try as much as possible to also, as a worker, try and check your
so
health.
sometimes you are a
order.
secular, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have, there are some illness.
Yes,
you
the
have
employer
no control.
may give you
It's
a lesser job.
recommended,
Yes,
but
or recommend.
Yes,
If the employer,
sometimes,
but you see,
yeah.
I just want us to understand that an employer has the power to hire
And
or fire.
Yeah.
That you just have to understand that, right? Once you understand that, of course, firing must come with some reasons.
Sure.
I mean, you can't just get up and fire. Of course, you should be able to give the right to a fair hearing.
Yeah.
The worker must be given the right to a fair hearing. I was told of an issue where a worker was fired by an employer without any hearing. I mean, they were just allegations. He never invited the worker
To listen to the worker.
And the worker has reported the company to
The Labour Commission.
No, is it Shraj?
Sure.
Right. So when they came to me, they were like, "Why should you go to Shraj?" So I asked, "What happened?" And then they said, "Well, they heard that she was stealing and all that." Then they wrote to her about it. Then she asked that she wishes to express or give her reasons. They didn't allow her.
Oh,
Then immediately, before she could realize, she has
given
been
in.
sacked.
No.
So I told her, oh, then that's what she's just following her human rights. It's basic,
That's
human
a good
rights.
case, yeah.
It is in chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitution.
Yeah.
The right, human rights. That is why she's there. Then the employer was like, oh, is that so? I said, no, you are in trouble. It's simple. I just told you are in trouble. It is simple. Just call the employee. Get your lawyers and sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Don't behave like.
And
And
compensate
the unfortunate
them,
thing
you
is
know.
that they took the letter and the employer decided that the letter was in the office. They were like, oh, I'll come for a letter. So, but you see, when I drew his attention,
The employer's attention.
yes, the employee was asking for a chance to
hearing.
explain herself.
And then you
You know,
didn't-
that was a right to a fair hearing.
Sure. Yeah.
That was where I said so I told him, the employer, that look, perhaps the employee was seeking legal advice somewhere, or human
Yeah,
rights,
yeah.
and so he said, okay, fine, this is what is happening. Can you give me the chance to explain myself? The very moment he said no,
It's a fundamental
it.
human right.
Yeah.
You know,
it's basic.
basic.
Yeah.
Very
So
basic.
yes,
Yeah.
you are fired here, but you're in trouble.
You're
You
in
pay.
trouble.
All right.
Huge
Gideon,
compensation.
Gideon, let's look at some of the contracts when you look at employment. What are some of the contracts that comes between an employer and an employee? Some of the business contracts.
I think that Auntie has indicated. It depends on what you want. It can be a permanent, a worker, temporary, or casual. It is important that in your employment letter it is stated there. If I
So
know,
first, we have the employment contract.
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. There are many companies or there are many workers who, when you ask them that where is your employment letter or contract, they don't have it. And also, the employers or some of them intentionally decide not to do it so that they can always escape. So the question is, yes, you are working as a driver for maybe a CU. You're a driver, all right, but you don't have any appointment letter, a letter or an employment letter. So he wakes up one morning and he's sacking you, and you are asking for benefits.
Yeah.
What benefits are you asking for? Because you don't even have a letter. What did the employer or the CEO of the company, even though you are a personal driver, never promised you of any benefits. So
But
he's sacking you.
I want
and
us
he's-
to look at the fact that when you are employed, it's mandatory for you to get a letter of employment. I want us to look at
Yes,
from
it is
that angle.
mandatory.
It is
So the
mandatory,
point is that
yeah.
it is mandatory. It's mandatory to ask for a letter of employment.
And then the
Stating
employer
stating all the details. And as I indicate, it must be indicated whether it's a cash worker, temporary worker, or a permanent worker. Don't forget, the very moment 6 months passes, it automatically changes from temporary worker to permanent worker.
permanent
You don't need for any
So now let's
explanations.
look at those who, before the 6 months, they lay you off, and then 3 days later, they re-employ you.
But that
that is the strategy.
That is illegal. Yeah.
Yes, and actually,
That's
yes,
illegal.
yes,
So,
yes.
so that's
yes,
illegal.
yes, yes.
So if so what the Labour Act says is that if you employ somebody on a temporary basis, right, and I mean 6 months, after 6 months, you treat the person like as a permanent person.
yes, yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't confer permanent status on the person. But every benefit, everything that the permanent employees are enjoying, the person must also enjoy.
Please, you understand?
That is temporary.
Auntie Dora, go over that again.
So-
I know my time is up.
So, temporary employee. You have employed me in January, February, March, April, May, June. I'm still a temporary employee. If you still keep me and I enter the 7th month, you are going to treat me as a permanent employee.
So all the benefits
Everything.
that you didn't give me
Yeah.
from the being a temporary worker, you must give it to me.
Please, you understand? Don't worry. As the season goes on, you get every
Yeah.
detail. You understand everything.
And then
So-
let me
so-
just quickly say
yes,
something. You know,
yes.
the permanent employment also can be either open-ended or fixed term. You understand? So
Yes.
open-ended, your assumption date or date of employment is 1st January 2024 till.
end.
And then the fixed term maybe for 1 year. It ends on 31st December 20. So those are the. So some people sometimes mistaken like if it's a fixed term contract, then it means the person is not a permanent. The person is
it's
a permanent employee.
Yeah.
However, there is a determined end date of the contract,
Which is subject to
renewal or not.
Okay, so my time is up. So let's give your final words, your advice to a prospective employee or employer under
Okay,
1 minute.
I think council said a lot about it. So first, your CV must be made tailored to the requirements in the adverts.
Okay.
And then secondly, you must also, if you are applying for a job from a company, you must know which company am I applying to. Know the company. Because some of them are like, there's nothing, there are no rules and regulations there. We know that there is no work in Ghana. But it doesn't mean that, for instance, if you are going to apply through an employment agency, read the contract. Read the contract. Don't say that, because I was in need of a job or something, I'm not going to read. So, 1, the CV. 2, do due diligence, and then read the contracts and know what you're going in for.
Then the advice to the employer?
The employer should be a little bit considerate. And for instance, you cannot hire somebody for 6 months, renew.
Actually,
renew,
the court says that
yeah.
if you renew more than once, it means that the person will automatically become permanent.
Absolutely.
And
So,
I
mean,
love that ruling.
So,
eh?
yeah. So
Because-
don't put yourself, ridicule yourself like that as an employer. An employer should build a brand. So be a good employer. You understand me? Be a go-to place that people would want to work with you. Not where people will be pointing fingers at, as for this place, when you go, this, da. So that's something I want to tell the employees.
Well, what I would say is that as an employee, I will not say insist, but actually, encourage your employer to provide you terms of employment.
Yeah.
It is key. I have seen many people who claim they are working for A or B and they don't have terms of a contract of employment. And so when there's an issue and we ask, where is your contract of employment? You don't have it. So that's basically, and for employers, I would encourage them that they should make sure that all the statutory obligations that they need to fulfill for workers, they should do that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be postponing and be piling
payment of social security
and all those things. Yes, that's all that, because the other things Auntie has said it. Yeah, I'm sure to be continued.
Yes, to be continued. Definitely to be continued. Yeah. So in summary, in tree, so ejuma ni Ghana mo. But what agencies for no me ejuma yeah pepper some them on contracts number sign. With the so what's ya say oh yeah CV so no yeah shomu ye na make sure say ade a o tro no and na company ne pay. Pa sure what ya say. Men tro bi keke. Sure. Kuma company so pay way. Make sure say CV no articles anya mani na. Na o ko edu baby o make sure say o ye ejuma for 6 months. Every 6 months we are want to no more renew 6 months you do not so sign renew so on person obey senior permanent worker obey employee odimu law na senti oye ni sa bioma odimu I should say you see how your employee akasa now what last one you can also say uni obi ye juma terms of reference relationship on esa o paper so say me fa so ye say must ka say see. So that's a semi bad cra. You bet me for happy panel. Near the account no. But when you be a juma 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, up to and there. On my contract here. People just say they are dancers on any age you want to be any hosa. Into a summer bar, no say no crime employee wona. You bet me a bow, be a check a wa. Men do hono. When you be a juma, make sure so contract. But what I say. As I said, this season, it's all about the employer and employee. So next week, we are going to discuss contracts and benefits of a prospective employee. Meaning, say, you're trying to say, you're far away you. And see, you're far away you are by Jumeni Mono. Nyama be bay, no, just say, or she say, Ubenya. Nyama be what they are, yeah, so far as you Jumo Hodom answer, we know, it is Unya. Nyama be say, it's Unya. So next week, we'll be discussing all that. So, as I said, my dress is by Mamel's Creation. Okay, please call Rose on 0541 809393. She will let you look so good. I look good on that. Me and Meka Masama look good.
You do.
So please talk to Rose, and Rose will let you look good. If you want fabrics, beautiful fabrics, LS Fashion Mall. She's in Kumasi. She's Samwala. Just call her on 0243018508, and they will sort you out, irrespective of where you find yourself in the country. If you call them, they will sort you out. And if you want shoes, nice shoes, you call Delight. She's in Accra. She's Sophie on 0243715480. Nice shoes and accessories. They will help you with it. You just mention my name. When you call them, tell them Anita says that when I call you, give me a discount.
Sure. And
you are short of a discount. Okay. So just call them. And if you want to sponsor the show, please, drinks, water, makeup, we are all for it. Okay. So call us and then let's talk. So until next week, let me just say this. This coming Sunday is my mother-in-law's birthday.
Wow.
Ma Charity Ama Santoa Apiakubi. I'm a SDA Church. Ma, happy birthday in advance. So me sure say that kwabno will still do me. He will do you good. And when you see my mother-in-law at church, just hug her for me and tell her happy birthday on our behalf. And also for mommy, happy birthday. You know, say God will bless you and keep you. And please stay safe. Until next week, it's adieu from us.